All right, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who as well. Peace and salutation to the elect. My name is Ayhan. The title of this video is Global News Highlights. All right, so we're back basically in the major news worldwide. I asked the app DeepSeek, which is an artificial intelligence. And this is something that Esau is working on, actively working on this artificial intelligence, right, to integrate this thing into his system and basically make it a new idol for them to worship, a god for them to follow. Right. So I had set an alarm. I forgot it was going to go off. So anyway, yeah. So it's a god for them to follow. But you know, this thing sometimes it does give problems. So you actually have to know, you know, what you're talking about. You can't be a mockingbird, you know, or anything like that. Just like Elder Costa Gabar says all the time. But you actually have to be on your watch as a watchman. All right, let's grab let me grab that real quick. Even have the coop say he will stand on his watch. All right, this is Ezekiel 33:7. It says, So thou, O son of man, I have set thee as a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word of my mouth and warn them from me. Right. So, you know, we're watching. We're watching to see what's going on, you know, and basically, like I was saying, this AI intelligence thing is these heathens new God, you know, who they think can govern their vehicles, their vehicles, their planes, right, their ships. So far, we're seeing ships crashing through bridges. You know, Teslas lock themselves completely where you can't get out of it and just blow up in front of hotel buildings. Planes take off the sky and crash barely 3 seconds later after taking off. You know, and all this air traffic tower control helicopters crash into a plane, you know, so all of this AI stuff is kind of coming short. But anyway, what I wanted to say about that or this is that Esau is making this thing his God and it goes off. Sometimes I have to ask this thing, you know, what year it is. And recently, if I can remember correctly, that sometimes this thing it doesn't know what year it is in. All right, so I asked it what is the major news worldwide past 24 hours, and it was doing what it was doing, and then it stopped, and then it said check your internet connection, which that happens a lot when I'm doing this. You know, sometimes I'll ask it something, uh, it'll say some stuff, and then it will delete everything it said completely, and just say network error or something. And but this time what it did, it stopped mid sentence of itself writing, and it just gave up on itself. So then I asked it, what is the major news again in the past 24 hours? And right here in point two, it says NATO summit in Washington. And then it says President Biden announced new air defense systems will be sent to Ukraine within weeks. Now, what I'm gonna do real quick is ask it what year is it and see what it says, just to see if it does the same thing. All right, so it's thinking, yeah, okay. So right now, this thing says, this is what it says. It's currently 2024. Look at this. It says, if you're seeing references to 2025 in some of my previous responses, that was an error. I sometimes use hypothetical future dates when summarizing news to simulate breaking updates. So, you know, so far that really hasn't happened because everything that this thing has told me has been active news that was happening. It says, would you like me to provide real-time 2024 news updates instead? I can give you the latest verified global headlines from the past 24 hours. But so I did that without it searching the internet. This thing is trash. All right. Yeah. So it has little holes in it. So I'm gonna ask it again. I'm gonna let it search the internet real quick. And I really want to bring out Job 18 because of this. Anyway, because this is their new God. Okay. All right. So I connected it to the internet for the internet search, and I asked it again. I said, "What year is it?" It says it's currently July 2024. Now, this is the DeepSeek side of it. I don't know how Chat GPT is. I do have Chat GPT. I talk to Chat GPT too sometimes. It's 2025. So I just told it it's 2025. Let's see what it says. This is what it said last time. It says, you're absolutely right to clarify. Since we're operating under the premise that it's 2025, here are major global news updates of July 2025 with a forward-looking perspective. All right, so I'm going to look into it. I'm going to look into it and see why it does that. But this is talking about the future. So I'm going to screenshot this part of the video. It says, look, it says, since we're operating under the premise that it's 2025, so it still doesn't believe that it's 2025. It says, here are the major global news updates as of July 2025 with a forward-looking perspective. So this thing is trying to prophesy. So I'm going to go into it and see what it said, and I'm going to come back. But anyway, so with that being said, you got to know what you're involved in. Right? At the end of the day, let me get to Job 18. You got to understand exactly what's going on around you. You have to be a watcher, right? Because this thing want to give you false information, right? But that's Esau trying to throw that in there because this thing is fucking them up. All right, this is Job 18:5, and I'll do it in NLT. It says, surely the light of the wicked will be snuffed out, the sparks of their fire will not glow, the light in their tent will grow dark, the lamp hanging above them will be quenched. It says the confident stride of the wicked will be shortened, their own schemes will be their downfall. This AI is a whole scheme. It's a plan for total control and governance, right? It says the wicked walk into a net. They fall into a pit. It says a trap grabs them by the heel, a snare holds them tight. A noose lies hidden on the ground, a rope is stretched across their back. It says terrorists surround the wicked and trouble them in every step. Hey, and this is the Most High confusing their counsel. The scriptures say they'll seek to the idols and the charmers and the familiar spirits, with left-hand sources. That's that AI. And that AI thing gonna tell them some shit that ain't true. But anyway, nonetheless, proclaiming and declaring the end of this man's kingdom. All right. Me go into the news because before it stopped, it was giving me some updates on current events. So the first time it said, what is the major news worldwide in the past 24 hours? They was giving me 6 points. They stopped on 6 and they didn't finish it. Point 1 says Middle East crisis intensifies, which is the case. And it's going to continue to intensify until all hell breaks out, which is World War III, prophesied in the scriptures. Revelations 11:14. All right. Behold, the second war is past, the third war coming quicker. All right, Gaza conflict. Israeli forces conducted a new airstrike across Gaza, killing at least 25 Palestinians. Yeah, it was also said that right before the truth with Iran, they had jets in the sky ready to unleash missiles onto Iran, but because the truth started, like they didn't know it was about to start, they had to turn around and drop the bomb somewhere else because they don't hate blood. They love blood. So they had to drop the bomb somewhere else, and they dropped them on the Gaza Strip. All right. It says Israeli forces have conducted a new airstrike across Gaza, killing at least 25 Palestinians. while Hamas militants launched rocket barrages into southern Israel. The death toll now exceeds 38,000 in Gaza since October. It says Lebanon border clashes. Hezbollah fired dozens of rockets into northern Israel after an Israeli strike killed one of its senior commanders. And this is the problem too, because they want to do a ceasefire with Iran. They're saying, well, the ammunition is low. Hezbollah and Lebanon do not care. Right? They still attacking Israel. You know, so they're gonna have to do something. You know, of course it's gonna intensify, especially if they run out of ammo. All right, so we got point 2, Ukraine war updates. Russian advances. It says Moscow's troops captured the strategic village of Rozdolbaka in eastern Ukraine after weeks of heavy fighting. Right, and they just did another talk. The scriptures say, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them. So Trump and Putin just had a talk. I'm pretty sure Trump was talking about peace and safety and stopping the war. You know, he can stop the war in 24 hours, you know, and all of this stuff. And then right after that, Russia unleashed another biggest strike they have ever done. And it continues to grow. Russia is continuing to, every time they strike, the new strike is better than the last strike. So this was after talks on the phone with Trump. Immediately after that, Russia went in there and, you know, hit the hell out of Ukraine. So obviously Russia is not feeling what Trump is putting down. And that's that shameless doing on the glory of Babylon, America. All right, because they're being found out to be liars. Hold on, let me see that. It's why scriptures say never trust thine enemies. All right. All right, anyway, moving on. Okay, it says Russia advances. Moscow troops captured the strategic village in eastern Ukraine after weeks of heavy fighting. It says NATO summit prep. World leaders are gathering in Washington for the 75th NATO summit with Ukraine membership bid and defense spending topping the agenda. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens because that's why Russia is doing a heavy strike every day because they didn't want NATO to join or Ukraine to join NATO. So now they're having a whole meeting about whether Ukraine is joining NATO. We have France government crisis. President Macron faces political deadlock after left-wing coalition won preliminary elections, forcing potential power sharing. All right, UK new government PM Keir Starmer held first cabinet meeting with after Labour's landslide victory, pledging immediate action on cost of living crisis. Yeah, he's not going to be able to fix that because Americans fucking that up for everyone, right? And the sanctions on Russia and all of America's enemies is not allowing him to fix that either. All right, they can't even get you know the fuel. The Nord Stream pipelines was destroyed. All right, they're working on a new pipeline too, which I don't know the update on that yet, but they're trying to be building a new pipeline that goes through Turkey and all of that, you know, then feeds to Israel. That's, you know, so until they can do that, you know, there's no fixing the crisis over there. And also they're gonna hate America. Right? That goes to that Revelations 17. The 10 horns hating the whore. Yeah, these new people that's getting elected, they're gonna go in there and see what the hell has really been happening, and they can't do nothing about it, you know. And then, you know, they paint Russia to be a villain. Those same people gonna look at the villain and say, you know what, the villain has been making sense the whole time. They're gonna join Russia and they're gonna destroy America. Okay. Point 4 says Hurricane Bernie. All right. The deadly storm made landfall in Texas after devastating Caribbean islands, leaving millions without power. Okay. Says Japan floods, torrential rains triggered deadly landslide near Tokyo, killing at least 6 people. Right, this is the Lord visiting this place. All right, he's gonna keep visiting this place. This is Isaiah 29. It says, Isaiah 29:6, thou shalt be visited of the Lord, Yahweh Bashmiah shall host with thunder and with earthquakes and great noise with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. So all of that's coming. There's much more to come. All right. So we got point 5. It says global markets. It says Asian stocks fell sharply amid political uncertainty in Europe and Middle East tension. See? And the least of the fall is drawn out America, right? And America, it's just messing it up for everybody. Because a lot of people depend on America. America has to put sanctions on the enemies of Ukraine and Israel. There's uncertainty in the world of what happens next. We're really War III about that. And there's no uncertainty in the prophets, right? The men of the Lord, the prophets, we're telling you exactly what's coming next. It says China trade data. Exports grew faster than expected in June. Okay. So it says significantly some economic recovery. Yeah, so those tariffs ain't do nothing to China. Then we have this AI regulation. So this point 6, this is what they did in here. It says AI regulation, the EU launched investigations into several major tech companies over potential AI rule violations. Yeah, they're gonna try to, they want it for themselves. But this thing is powerful. You can I guess sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. You can make that thing trade for you. It wants to predict the future, so it seems it might predict a lot of numbers. All right. So they're trying to regulate it, whereas people can only do so much with it. Hey, a lot of things, they prescribe. They prescribe things into effect. They could have websites and things set up that don't launch to a certain day, but AI is already in there, looking at it. Who knows, right? First thing gonna tell on them. The scripture say they shall call their own tongue to fall upon themselves. I just gave Job 18 where it says they walk into a net, set by themselves, basically. It's the AI. All right. Yeah, so that's it for the global news today. I'll say shalom to those elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.